All right. Okay. So the first time I went up Kings Peak, I was passed by a couple of guys who were trail running. And I just thought that was intriguing. I just thought, oh, wow, this is cool to see these guys trail running. I was backpacking, and so it sounded like a fun idea. So about 30 years later, I decided I would go, and I wanted to do Kings Peak in a day. So I drove up there to the trailhead, and I got out of my car. I hiked up there. I got to the top about 6:30 p.m., and I was coming out, and it was getting dark, and I had about 15 miles left to go, and I was really tired. And so I put my headlamp on, and I just been, trundling along this trail. I was really beat. I was all worn out. I was dehydrated, just kind of tired after a long day. And as I was getting close, what I thought was close to the trailhead, I was looking around to try to see, like, if I could recognize anything that would indicate that I was close, that would give me hope that, that I was almost back to my car. And as I looked around, all of a sudden I got a glint of something reflecting out of the corner of my eye. And it made me excited because I thought, a lot of times you get close to the trailhead and, people put signs up and, maybe there's a car headlight or something. And so I thought, oh, wow, I'm almost there. And so I sort of looked closer. I looked at the trail and then I looked back at where I'd seen the reflection and it was gone. And all of a sudden this panic came over me because I realized what I had seen in the reflection of my headlamp were eyes. And there was something that was watching me. And I immediately thought, oh my gosh, I'm being stalked by a cougar, or there's a grizzly bear, or a vampire, or, all the things. I'm alone, it's dark, it's, probably 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and I'm just beat. I'm so tired. I'm like, there's nothing I can do to protect myself if I get attacked by a mountain lion or something. So I was super scared. So I stopped for a second. I looked at the trail to make sure I didn't trip or anything. And then I looked again in the direction that I'd seen the eyes. And to my gratitude and my joy, it was just a friendly old moose just standing there in the bushes eating his midnight snack. And so I kept hiking along, got to my car. And as I got in my car, I turned on the ignition, and I'd been listening to this choral music before I got out of my car. And it was an arrangement of a Robert Frost poem. And the key line of that poem is, miles to go before I sleep, miles to go before I sleep. And so I started my long trek back home, my miles to go before I slept, but I was alive and I was grateful. And that's my story.
Well, that was cool.
That was a very good story.
Thanks. Yeah, it was scary. So I guess my own critique, I don't know how long I took. I probably took a little bit too long, talked too fast. I always get nervous when I stand in front of people. So those are probably the things that I would say would be things I probably need to work on a little bit more. What do you guys think?
I didn't time you. Cadence wise, like speed wise, I thought that was a very comfortable speed.
Oh, good.
I think the story itself was really engaging and really good. Like what are those eyes? I do think there's maybe an opportunity so you kind of start out with like, oh, I decided to trail run Kings Peak. Maybe some context that's like a 28-mile round trip or something. It's pretty far, right?
Yeah.
Trail running that in a day is no small feat, and I think context, the audience might not know that. As well as, to me, like the meat of the story was kind of not there. Like the hook wasn't at the beginning. It was kind of like, oh, I'd been going all day, and then it was like that, hey, it's 6 p.m. and I just got to the top or whatever. To me, that was like, oh wow, Dallen's in for a crazy time. But yeah, really good story. I think that just for me, maybe the front could be, I don't know, connected with the rest of the story, and the hook could be a little bit closer to the front, maybe.
Okay, thanks.
I thought your delivery. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it, Jackson. Go for it.
I was gonna say I thought your delivery was really good. It was natural and just sort of, conversational. I didn't find your speech too fast or anything like that. I thought, just looking at the grading rubric, I thought your opening sentence was perfect. Straight to the point. You basically like told what the story was going to be about, and then obviously the structure. The structure worked well. just because I mean it was pretty much just a chronological story. The one thing I guess and I don't know that this is necessarily a bad thing, is when you started talking about how many miles you had to go, I thought the story was going to be about like you were going to get stranded or like have to sleep out there or something, which is not necessarily bad. And maybe that was a thought that went through your mind. But for me, the peak was obviously the eyes in the woods. So, and then conclusion was great. I really, really liked the ending with the song. I thought that was cool. So great job.
Something that I wanted to point out, bouncing off of Jackson and Russ's comment, was the use of repetition, whether purposeful or not, going through the Jack Frost poem about miles and miles, and then you verbally saying it from your own recollection. Where Jackson focused on the eyes, for me, actually, what really got to me was the focus on those miles, because of something Russ had talked about, which is having that prior understanding of just how far you went, which was a unique and good feature for you to have touched on. And even though it's a part of your story and the Jack Frost poem wasn't planned, your decision to focus on that and then use your own words, use your own part of the story to double down or double dip, if you will, on the miles, I thought was a smart way to connect with the audience or whomever you in the future could be telling the story to. Especially if you take Russ's point, which is maybe elaborate on that.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
Cool. King's Peak is great, by the way. That's awesome. It's a really fun hike.
Yeah, it is. It's beautiful.
I guess
eaten by a bear.
Sorry, what?
Said, and I'm glad I didn't get eaten by a bear.
I'm also glad you didn't get eaten by a bear. Otherwise,
hey,
we wouldn't have
thanks.
short. So I'll go ahead and